Ladies and gentlemen, it is once again that season where a new Call of Duty game is upon us, and over the next coming days and weeks, we are going to be getting tons of information on multiplayer, campaign, zombies, and everything in between, including Warzone. And as we get that information, I will keep you guys up to date so you guys know everything that is going on. But as far as this goes, Warzone Pacific, still not a ton of information on it. As we get that information, of course, it'll be coming out to you guys as soon as we have it. As far as today goes, what we got was the backstory of 4 individual characters, 2 from the campaign and 2 from multiplayer. In this video, we're going to be diving into these cutscenes, talking about these individual characters and breaking down their backstories just a little bit. As you guys know, on the channel, I love to break down Call of Duty stories. We look at the full stories of individual characters, and of course, once the game is actually out, we will be taking all of these characters, breaking them down, talking about their full story. But as far as today goes, we're just going to be looking at these cutscenes, giving a brief overview of these characters' backstories, just so we know what we're getting into come the launch of the game. So as you guys know, I love this kind of thing. Without further ado, let's dive into it.
A true king fights side by side with his soldiers, his reign defined by courage. Leadership and loyalty sustain each other, each relying on the other's sacrifice. A covenant forged in trust and strengthened by empathy. Like a true monarch, Arthur Kingsley doesn't rule, he leads.
So this is a character we already have talked about, we already know a lot about, and this is of course Arthur Kingsley. He is the leader of the Special Operations Task Force, or Task Force Vanguard. They're the ones that go into Germany, into Berlin, and uncover the truth surrounding Project Phoenix. Now, as far as Arthur goes, he is the leader of the group, and he's not committed to violence or killing people, but rather an unwavering devotion to the mission, and that is why he is the leader of Task Force Vanguard. As far as the background of this character, we know that he is a British paratrooper. Other than that, we don't have too much information regarding his family or things along those lines, or where he grew up and came from. We just know that he is very smart, charismatic, brave, and heroic. Now, as far as the end of all of these little trailers, we get a little snippet of some multiplayer gameplay on a new map that we have not seen yet. On top of that, we also get to see a finishing move from Arthur Kingsley. Pretty straightforward stuff here, really not much else to break down other than the fact that this is a new map that we have yet to see.
Sometimes you're the hunter. And sometimes you're the hunted. Haltet die Köpfe unten! Sie sind überall! Polina Petrova is always the hunter.
So this is actually my favorite piece of backstory that we have so far for Polina Petrova. First of all, we once again know that she is a part of the campaign, a part of Task Force Vanguard. She also goes into Germany to research Project Phoenix alongside the other characters as well. She's also an infamous sniper legend known as Lady Death. Now, as far as her story goes, what they say about this is there's a lot of intense emotional threads that run through Polina's narrative. Her story isn't just about revenge for what happened to her home home and her family. It's also a story about loss, displacement, grief, and also prejudice. This is going to be an interesting character to break down once we actually get her backstory from the campaign, and I think it'll be probably one of the first characters we actually dive into. As far as what we see in the trailer, nothing new other than she is the hunter, she is the sniper, nothing else to be expected there. As far as the multiplayer clip goes, we once again have a new snowy map that was not in the beta, and a new weapon called the Fedorov Automaton, or Automatov, or something along those lines. I'm definitely saying it wrong, but this weapon was in World War II, so we should expect more of the same. And then at the very end, we have Polina rushing one of the enemies.
Soldiers of honor have a rule. No one gets left behind. But for Daniel Takayatsu, it's not just a rule, it's the rule. No matter how fierce the enemy, how overwhelming the numbers, how dark the day, he's there to make good on a promise. Last one! And bring everyone home.
This character is named Daniel Takayatsu, and as far as he goes, he is a sniper who uses his abilities to protect his fellow soldiers against enemies. We also find out that his story is deeply rooted in one of the most shameful chapters of American history, the internment of Japanese citizens in US concentration camps. And basically all we know as of right now is that his entire world is turned upside down when his family is put into these camps, and then he is drafted to fight in an army for a country that he doesn't feel welcome in. It's a very interesting story, one that I definitely want to dive more into, but for now, this is all the information that we have. As far as the multiplayer part of this cutscene, what we have is the character using the M1 Grand. Pretty straightforward. We already saw this weapon in the beta. And then, of course, we see the finishing move, which he is using a shovel with.
Colonizers spill enough blood to plant their flag, and then wonder why the Tree of Liberty gets a thirst for the stuff. Padmavati Balan despised oppressors and their yoke on her people. For her, casting off the bonds of imperialism was a brutal poetry. She always did have a knack for irony.
So the final character we have here, I'm probably going to butcher this name, but it's Padmavati Balan. And she is an Indian soldier, and as far as her backstory, it doesn't go too in-depth with this, but what it says is that she is a woman who lost her homeland twice, once to colonists and once to fascists. Aside from this, we don't know much other than the fact that she likes to perform poetry and music. Other than that, not a whole lot to go on with this character. We'll probably find out more once the game is actually released, but essentially, that's all we have as of right now. As far as the rest of the cutscene, we see the character holding a shotgun once again on a new map. Not too much more to go into there. As far as her finishing move, she is using a machete. Now, as far as what I am interested in moving forward, first of all, taking a deeper dive, looking at all of these characters and seeing how their stories go, but I'm also very interested to see if some of these characters' stories are actually intertwined, whether or not there's going to be an overarching story with these multiplayer characters, whether it involves Warzone, something along those lines. As of right now, we don't know exactly how that will work, just that each individual character, whenever one's added with DLC, will have a deep embedded backstory with some cutscenes, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that is all about, breaking it apart, and making some videos for you guys. But as of right now, this is what we know. These are the characters that we saw, of course, alongside the other campaign characters that we talked about in a previous video. It'll be linked after the video if you want to check that one out. But as far as this goes, I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. If you enjoyed the video, always appreciate it if you hit that like button. And if you like what you see, want to stay up to date on everything Call of Duty, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.
We are real.